We live. It's 2:18 a.m. Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever you're gonna call it. I got work tomorrow, but I need to because whenever I hang out with my best friend, which is not very often, we have these conversations where so much knowledge just gets passed through, and we call this life shit, we call it the game. Let me write that down. The game. This is the game. We call this the game. A lot of the time we're just talking about life, like the corporate life, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about money, we're talking about emotions, talking about a bunch of shit, but we just call it the game. And one of the last things that he ended off by saying is, in the Big 2-6 in 2026, this is the nonchalant Olympics. Everybody's battling for who's most nonchalant. And the reason that he says that is because 2026, it's been happening for a few years now. People will text you first and then not text you back. But this is going to be a new series, because every time I hang out with this guy, I talk about so much shit, and then I need to turn it into a video, but it's so hard to turn it into a video, there's so much shit. So these are the points. I just got home, remember, so this is all I remember right now. But if something else comes, we'll talk about it. Starting with woman options covered. Now, what that means is, you know what I should do? I should write this in... Listen, what I mean by when I say women always have their needs met... Can I get out of the way? I apologize. Can I get out of the way? There's 5 categories. Not all of them are always going to be met, because this one only depends on the other 4. But what her needs will be met in terms of she will be taken care of. There's always going to be someone in the picture taking care of her. It could be her father, right? It could be her father. So it could be her father, it could be her parents, it could be her older brother, it could be her uncle. There's always going to be someone taking care of her financially, putting shelter over her head, right? There's always going to be someone that she loves. Because remember, these two are very different things. A lot of times women are dating men that they don't really love, they don't really respect. That's why people are getting done so dirty. That's why girls are so easy to jump from relationship to relationship. Because the person that's taking care of her, why the camera blurry, though? The guy that she loves and the person that's taking care of her is not always the same person. There's a lot of times where there's 2 guys in the picture. There's more times where there's 3, 4, 5 guys in the picture. There's a lot of times when the person that's taking care of the woman could be her father, financially. Could be her father, could be her older bro, could be her uncle. Putting a roof over her head, shopping, doing nice things for her. That's not always the guy that she loves. And you'll learn this through experiences. She always needs something or someone in her life to nurture. A baby, like her kids, her little cousins, her little sibling, dogs. Why do you think women love dogs so much? Why am I not writing this? Man, I'm still learning the game. This is more game that I'm still learning, Kids, dogs, right? Whether it's her kid, her sister's kid, her little cousin, right? She's a daycare worker. She wants to work with kids as a teacher. Or dogs. Women and dogs in the last few years is on the uprise, because people aren't having kids no more, right? And then pleasure. Okay, this can go hand in hand with the person that she loves. This can go, sometimes the person that's taking care of her physical needs is also pumping, but not always are people pumping right, okay? We don't have to talk about that for too long, but she needs to be pumped right, the same way that guys need to be whatever right, okay? And then society approved. Right? Because society, her parents, the people that raised her, the girls that she's around, because women care a lot about how people are going to perceive them, they need to care, or they need to approve of this guy that's in her life. So, like, for example, like, if women are, like, it's not all women, right? But, like, we're talking about the game. If this woman is in love with, like, a bad boy, he's not going to be the one that she talks to her parents about, or her sisters, or, like, aunties about. Right? But like her friends will know, but not everybody is going to know. So quickly, first thing we're talking about today, woman options are always covered. Her physical needs will always be met. There's always going to be someone in the picture that she loves. There's always going to be someone or something in the picture to nurture, whether it's kids or a dog. There's always going to be this in the picture. Okay, we back. We finished with woman's option covered. Now we talking about nervous system triggered in relationships. My best friend telling me, you should never have, like, your nervous system shouldn't just be getting like tense and triggered and putting you in fight or flight mode if this is real love, if this is the person that you're meant to be with, why is your nervous system going into fight or flight mode? Now, I understand this is going to happen occasionally, very rarely, because sometimes love makes you vulnerable, makes you face yourself in order to become a better version of yourself, to become a better partner. But this shit should not be happening often or over little things. Now, I'm going to give you a personal example. My girlfriend asked me for why does shit keep going blurry though? We back? Okay, we back. It keeps going blurry. It's really annoying. My girlfriend asked me yesterday, I was across the house, and she wanted a picture off my phone to send to her mom, because we made lamb chops. And her mom's like, oh, send me the lamb chops. So she go, hey, what's your password? Because I'm just going to send I'm going to send the picture to my phone so I can send it to my mom. This was my reaction. This was dead my reaction. No words. Because I was like, what? For what? I can just come across the house and type it in and then send it to you, and then you can send it to your mom. And she was like very like off put, like, wait, what's the big deal? Why can't you give me your password? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you, there's no big deal. Like, I could absolutely give my password, but I've been trained and programmed over so many times, like, trust no one, don't do that, people will go through your phone, people will take advantage of you, blah blah blah. And my best friend, very similar, because he was telling me, like, it starts like, yeah, give your password for no reason, but 6 months down the line, something might happen, then she's gonna go through your phone, and then what? You know, that's just how we trained ourselves to think, but it's not a healthy way to think. So your nervous system, if it's that's just an example of it getting triggered. And I'm not saying that was her fault. I'm just saying your nervous system should not be constantly getting triggered if this is the relationship for you. Whether it's a stepping stone or an awakening or a character development arc, okay. But when you're deciding this is the person I'm going to take serious, commit to for the rest of my life, I'm going to marry this person, I'm going to have a family with this person, think about this. If your nervous system's constantly getting triggered, it cannot go on. It cannot. Okay, next we have physical appearance versus societal appearance. Now, my friend was asking me a question. I already forgot. It's 2:30 in the morning, man. I already forgot necessarily what the base of the question was. It was something along the lines of, they tell you that once you get a lot of money, the woman will come. Now, what's the male equivalent to that? And I just said, bro, all men care about is if the woman's hot. Well, when a girl's really hot, all the men flock towards her. And he was saying, so what do men chase? And a lot of the times, are we going blurry again? Men chase physical appearance, and men are inclined by physical appearance, and women are inclined by societal appearance. So what will people think? My parents, friends, how am I going to be judged? Because historically, that's how women got by choosing a man that was able to take care of her, protect her physically, educate her. Women weren't allowed to go to school for a long time or work for a long time. So this is how they got by. I'm not trying to shame women in any way. I'm just, first of all, I'm not even fully educating. I'm trying to educate with my information, not 100% facts. I'm just telling you about the conversations I just had about the game, because when I have these conversations, they're life-changing, they're eye-opening, and everybody that I've ever encountered loves these conversations. This is the game. I'm going to keep telling you that. This is the game episode 1. Every time I hang out with this guy, I'm going to do this. I love this. Men are inclined towards physical attraction, physical appearance, and women are inclined towards societal appearance. This is just how people got by. Men wanted a woman that looked good, wanted a woman that physically looked good in the terms where she was healthy so she could be fertile and be a good mother. Woman needed a man to provide for her, but also a man to educate her, because they weren't allowed to go to school. They weren't even allowed to go in public. So she needed a capable man that society deemed worthy, that society deemed capable. Remember, I'm not shitting on anyone. I love a hot girl too, the same way we all do. But that's just the facts, okay? Next we have touching people's souls. Now, this came near the end of the conversation, and the way this came about was how we were talking about how both of us historically have been with women who swear that on paper this is their type, but I've never been this guy. Like, you are loving me, I feel your genuine desire for me, and I almost feel like I got you hooked like this. But when you are articulating your type on paper, whether it be to me or someone else, that is not me who you're talking about. And I feel like the reason for that, I was telling him, is because I touch people's souls. They genuinely feel a connection with me, not my job title. They don't feel connected to my job title. They don't feel connected to my money. They don't feel connected to my lifestyle. They genuinely feel a connection with the soul. And the biggest list of things that I could make to explain this in a short amount of time, because we were turning on my street, I was basically home. Cognitive empathy, regular empathy, no ego, which means not being controlled by the ego. Not everybody has an ego. No judging, and you make people feel seen, and you make people feel heard. Now we're going to go over these one by one, but very quickly. This has already been a long video. Cognitive empathy and empathy are a little different, but same idea. Cognitive empathy is when you're thinking how somebody else would think. Like putting yourself in their, imagine putting yourself in someone's shoes, but not thinking what would I do in their position, thinking like I'm them, what are they going to do? Okay, so cognitive empathy, how people think, you have to think about that stuff too, because you can't only think about yourself. That's phase 1 level thinking. Remember, we're actually trying to build genuine connections. You're listening to someone to hear them, not to respond, to hear them. Empathy, of course, imagining how people are going to feel. When you do things, think about how people will feel, and you feel it with them. When you have that genuine connection, when your partner's sad, you're probably going to be a little bit down too. When your mother's sad, you're going to be a little bit down too, because you empathize towards these people that you have genuine connections with. No ego. What this means is not that you don't have an ego. It means that you're not being controlled by your ego. You're not biting back at someone because they're hurting your ego. You might feel a certain way, but just you have to be aware of it, and you don't play into it, because you're never going to be able to kill your ego. You just have to learn from it, and that's it. Observe. No judging. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Okay? There's no judging. And anytime you think somebody else is judging you, that is just you judging yourself. We're all imperfect, beautiful human beings. Jesus didn't die for you to go judge other people. Make people feel seen and make people feel heard. Remember small things. Remember birthdays. You know one line I'm going to tell you that I tell everyone? I don't forget nobody's birthdays. You know why? Because people never forget who texts them happy birthday. And I'm not trying to be manipulative. I'm genuinely reaching out. Happy birthday. I hope you had a great day. Blah, blah, blah. Because I want to make a positive effect on people's day. Not because I want them to remember mine. And not because I want them to think of me as, oh, so sweet and whatever. I just want you to smile. And that's it. We're going to leave it at that. And make people feel seen. That's make people feel heard. Make people feel seen as let them fully express themselves for who they are. You need to create safe spaces for people, because the world is hard. The world is cold. The world is cruel. But you're not. I know you're not, because you're watching this channel. We only love on this channel. We fight evil with good, and we fight evil with love with this. So make safe spaces for people. What I want to tell you, not only that girl thing that I just told you, but something else. I recently joined a soccer team full of a bunch of friends of friends. I don't really know these people. And when they were talking about me behind closed doors, the way they were describing me is that I have mysterious energy, and that when I speak, they feel like they have to listen, and they've never met someone like me that doesn't judge, because they were saying some outrageous things, and I was genuinely saying like, yo, you don't have to defend yourself. Like, I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to understand your perspective. And they were starstruck. But I was being genuine. Like, I genuinely don't care. Like, you like that? Okay, cool. You like that. Can you explain me a little bit more? Because I'm interested why you like that. I've never tried it, right? So I'm just trying to understand you. And they were genuinely starstruck. Okay? So if you want to be able to touch people's souls, build genuine connections, and like, you feel really good when you can tell that you're someone's safe space. Like, they very much cherish that, and it feels really good in your heart. Now let's get to the final point. Now, this one is huge, and this was the final thing that we talked about right before I got out of the car. The cost of wisdom is everything. It's something that I read on Twitter either this morning or the day before. And I didn't understand it at first, because it was like, doesn't wisdom lead you to everything? But the thing is, you have to leave the life of being controlled by comfort and ego to actually get to the everything that you want. So the cost of wisdom is you can't be controlled by your ego anymore, and you can't be controlled by comfort, because you need to actually go out there and do things that are going to be cringy, that are going to be hard, that are going to make you look silly, that are going to make you feel silly. but there's no other way to gain wisdom. And we're going to talk about this later, but wisdom isn't knowledge, okay? And Solomon, if you're religious, if you read the Bible, he pursued wisdom. That's the thing that he prioritized over everything else. But guess what? Solomon ended up with all the money, with all the women and whatever. Like, he ended up with everything that anyone could have desired. Solomon, with all his riches, only pursued wisdom. And the reason that wisdom leads to everything else is because to make the best decision requires wisdom. So the more wise that you are, the better decisions that you'll make, the better life that you'll... You get what I'm saying? And when I say that wisdom isn't knowledge, what I mean by that is knowledge is just theory. Okay? Knowledge is theory. You put theory into practice to get your fine-tuning of it, and it becomes wisdom. Because everybody's wisdom is differently. So UCLA, imagine my name was UCLA, because I don't want to say my name. UCLA's wisdom would be my fine-tuning of that piece of knowledge after I put it into practice. Okay, so wisdom and knowledge are different. You could read a billion gazillion books, but if you don't do nothing with it, not only is it going to be mental strain on your brain, but it's just going to do nothing. A wise man once said, I don't know his name, but a wise man once said, a smart man's favorite form of procrastination is learning more. I'll say that, and I'll also say there's no amount of knowledge can solve a courage problem. But I'm just going to keep going back to this. Wisdom is not knowledge. Okay? 29 minutes, 2:52 a.m. Monday morning. I have work tomorrow. That was the game. That was episode 1 of the game. I really hope you enjoyed this video, because this is going to be my favorite types of videos to make. Because when I hang out with this guy every other week or once every other month or whatever, however long it is, we have genuine life-changing conversations, and I just wish we had a podcast, but he's not interested in it. So, women always have their options covered. Your nervous system should not be consistently getting triggered in a relationship that you deem serious, whether that be a good friend or the partner that you want to build the rest of your life with. Men are inclined towards physical appearance. Women are inclined towards societal appearance. It is very important to touch people's souls, create a safe space for people. Hopefully it comes back to you one day, but if it doesn't, you will still feel decently fulfilled. And that's how you build genuine connections. And last but not least, wisdom over everything. Wisdom is not knowledge. Wisdom is when you put knowledge into practice and fine-tune it to receive your own version of it. Everybody's version of wisdom is different, but wisdom is what you need to make the best decisions, because knowledge can easily get overruled by emotions, but wisdom is when everything comes together and grants you the life you want. Christ is King. The game. We out.